Live from Beit Shemesh and broadcasted around the world, you are listening to the From Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Nahum Kligman. Interviews and advice from Jewish entrepreneurs from around the world. Listen, learn, be Matzliach.
And welcome to episode 46 of the From Entrepreneur. I'm so excited. I am live from the Five Towns in Far Rockaway. I'm sitting here with the one, the only, Eitan Katz. Eitan, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the From Entrepreneur Podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, Eitan, first of all, how long do we go back?
We go back to
We've known each other for a while, no?
1918. Our grandfather was born.
We share a grandfather.
We share a grandfather, yes.
That is true.
Baruch Hashem, yeah.
That means we're cousins.
We are cousins, first cousins.
We are family.
We are first cousins.
That's awesome. And it's true. People say that we look like each other. Do you ever get that?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Totally.
Yeah, all the time. Sure. Yeah, people come up to me all the time and say, "Are you Eitan?" No. It's my cousin.
Very good.
Actually, that's never happened. But if it did, I wouldn't be surprised. All right. How long have you been in the... First of all, okay, truth is, it's funny because I know a lot about you, obviously, but we'll conduct this podcast as if I don't know much about you. Okay. I think there's a lot to learn from your story. I think it's fantastic. First of all, obviously, people may not know. First of all, how did you get into the music industry? Because as a kid, I remember Shlomo was very into the violin as like a 6 or 7 year old.
Yeah.
I remember we used to have to sit through those
that stopped after he lost the violin. After a lesson, and then that was it.
And that was it.
Yeah.
But you didn't I don't remember you from a young age being into music or playing.
I mean, I was singing since I'm a little kid.
Right.
Singing, we come from a very musical family. My father's a very, beloved chazan around the world.
Right.
And I used to sing in his choirs.
Shout out to my uncle Avshalom.
Yes, indeed. And so, I'll tell you like this. My father always gave, he gave me the same advice over and over again through high school. He's like, whatever you do, don't be a musician. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. And I actually, even though I did, I was singing throughout my childhood.
Right.
And through high school, and then even post high school, it was getting even more and more. But it was never a profession. I still make money here and there off of it, but I never decided that this would be my profession. In fact, I have a master's degree in counseling from Johns Hopkins University.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
I do that.
Because my father told me that I'm not allowed to be a musician. So I had to go and get a degree.
Well, I'm sure your father's proud of you now. I know. I've seen the way he looks at you at your concerts and stuff.
Sure.
And
that's right. But he was saying more, he understood my talent and whatever Hashem gave me and everything. But he wanted, I guess, if anything, more from a financial perspective to get something that's a lot more steady and a lot more.
I thought Jewish musicians would make like millions of dollars. No.
No.
Oh, that's it.
That's the Beastie Boys Jewish music.
Oh, that type of those type of Jews. I hear. No, it's true. It's I guess it's it's a tremendous talent to be able to, first of all, to go up and to sing and to put yourself out there. And I was wondering, just from that type of perspective, because you could have the talent, and like there's one thing singing at your Shabbos table or singing amongst friends or singing at a choir, but to go out in front of hundreds of people at times, or even at a wedding, right, where it could be the whole wedding is depending on your music. Was that something that you had to deal with in terms of nervousness? How did you get over that? How did that play out for you?
It's a combination of I had very good teachers in that regard. My father being one of them. My father teaching me how to be a mensch no matter what with the music. I had a very close friend of mine who I worked for when I was living in Maryland, and I lived there for 6 years. The band leader in Maryland, Nasi Gross, was a very close friend of mine. That was the first experience I had working in like a band. Like I used to work for him. I used to take weddings and lead weddings for him and sing.
Right.
And then I married into a musical family. My father-in-law, Yitzi Braun, who spent many, many, many years playing music in the Jewish music industry, especially the wedding scene.
Oh wait, so he had where was his claim to fame? One of his claim to fame is he had
He's a mitzvah man.
the
first
mitzvah
of all.
man, right?
But yeah, he has a lot more of a lot of experience that he taught me over the years, and so it's definitely learning, but it's also like
In terms of going outside of a crowd, you're not nervous to perform.
It depends. Not. I mean, you're talking now. Or we're talking like 15 years ago.
Well, 15 years ago, and even now. I mean, do you get nervousness, or now is it at a point where
I don't get? I was just telling somebody this. I don't. There's a difference in being nervous and being prepared, properly prepared. Like I take it very seriously.
Right.
So like I don't show up to any gigs without properly preparing for it, which takes hours and hours. And people see only 5 hours of music at a wedding. They don't realize that 5 hours is like the last 5 hours of a 20 to 30 hour operation of preparing for this night.
That's very interesting, actually.
Absolutely.
Because people think, okay, it's another gig. You show up, you sing,
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it does get
easier, I guess.
easier. I mean, it's repetitive on a certain level, but it's not. You really want to make the customer feel like you're really for them, especially because you played 2 weddings yesterday and 2 weddings tomorrow. So what's this one's worth? No,
Right.
It's worth the beginning of a life, of a chassan and kala. So that's the way I try to enter into it. And the third thing is about I really love what I do. And it's not easy. We could talk about that. It's difficult. There's some challenges, but when you really love what you do, it gets easier over time. And when you see people appreciate what you do, not on a quote unquote big time right now, like not on a rock star level, but on a like very spiritual and very like a meaningful experience, it gives you a lot of strength to like continue doing it, and
So I guess I assume there's a lot of job satisfaction in terms of what you do. I mean, I know I've Baruch Hashem, I've been zocheh to be at many of your concerts, and it's not just an entertainment. It's it gets into your neshama, and I think that's something that people say a lot about your music, is that it's not just, as you said, lahavdil, a rock band or music or an entertainment concert. It's meant to affect people, whether it's at a chasna or whether you're doing, like you had this live recording you did in Yerushalayim a couple of years back.
You were there, right?
Yeah, I was there. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. People till today. I mean, not till today. It hasn't been that long, but it's. I just met somebody yesterday that was there, and it was like the way they were talking about it was so special. And
it was very intimate.
Yeah,
because you weren't on stage. It was like the stage was like right in front of us.
Yeah.
It was.
See, but nobody.
See,
the thing is, nobody knows the amount of
effort that went into the.
You can't even imagine.
Right.
I mean, 6 months.
So tell us about that, because again, you see this a lot. Like it's funny, when I was when I was creating apparel, I was just speaking at a conference on startups and creating products for Amazon, and I told people, when I was creating shirts, that there are 60 steps from the time you have the idea till the product is finished in stores.
Yeah.
Right. It's a tremendous process. So tell us a little bit about that. Like what goes into.
I'll give you an example of something that I'm dealing with right now, which and it's gonna tie into something you mentioned before. I'm putting out a new album soon in a few months, Emir Hashem, and it's a wedding album. So it's like a compilation of like medleys of songs that we've performed with the band live, but this time in the studio with just really beautiful arrangements. The music is incredible, the choice of songs, but if you had to go back to the beginning of that process of I want to do a wedding album, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
It takes months just to come up with a song list.
Really, just come up with this 10
songs? Think about it. How are you going to choose? Let's say there's 35 songs on it, something like that.
Okay.
Meaning, because each one is like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, because it's like a dance set.
Oh, I see. It's a dance set. Okay.
But still, like, for every song you choose, you're not choosing 5 songs that were on your list, kind of thing, right?
Wow, right.
And then you have to create the structure of how what song goes where,
song, right.
What key you're going to put it in, what instrument are you going to feature, what vocals are you going to put it here, what this is going to. Before you even enter into the studio to play the actual instrument, you've spent countless, I can't even tell you, amount of hours and time, and And then you go in the studio.
So
and you
who does
spend
it in your situation? Is that something you do yourself? Is
I
that
do it
something there's
myself. This is what I do.
And what's that, is that what's called musical arrangements, or what's that?
That's called producing.
Producing. Okay.
Production means getting it ready to be
To get to the studio for the recording. Okay.
So basically, arranging means the producer goes ahead and hires an arranger to go ahead and to take his ideas and put them, like tachlis, put it into a system, a setup that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to tell the saxophone what to play when, the drums and the guitar, whatever. With me, I do all this myself.
Wow.
I produce it, I arrange it. And the reason I do that is because, like, even at a wedding, the music is very personal. It's very like it's an expression of what the band has worked on for years, and I've been blessed to have the most incredible musicians around me. But I was just thinking about this, like, if people would know, forget the money that you put into it. Let's just forget the dollar amount for a second of how much it actually costs to do one of these CDs.
Right.
Which varies based on everybody's
schedules.
Well, not a schedule, but like...
Well, let's say the band. Just in general, bands are paid when they're on a CD. Are they paid for being on the CD, or they get a cut of?
No, there's no cut.
Or do they just say, "Hey, this is"? Like,
I'm hiring them.
For example, I published a book recently.
Okay.
And basically, I look at it as a business card, as a fancy business card, right? I'm not going to make money, and I didn't produce the book to make money off the book, but I did it. I did it for a couple of reasons. But one of the reasons is that people, can say, "Hey, this is who this guy is," and they can learn about me, and that could lead to other projects and speaking engagements and other things, right? So is that what a CD is today, and how does?
Yes and no. Yes, because at the end of the day, people, it's all about the brand name that you're trying to continue and trying to get out there and more and more and more.
Right.
And even if you're not trying to get out there, just to maintain the brand is part of it.
Right.
So you have the CD for that. And obviously, like, the gigs pay a lot more than the $10
for a CD.
For a CD, $10, $15 for a CD. But if you spend not an insane amount of money on it, and you make somewhat of a calculation of how many CDs you need to sell to break even, Baruch Hashem, in my personal experience, I've been able to make money on the CDs also.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not paying a producer, I'm not paying an arranger.
You're doing a lot of the heavy lifting yourself.
Yes, exactly. So some CDs these days of the big names out there, they're spending over $100,000 to make a CD.
Wow.
No joke. And even if they sell thousands of CDs, you hope they make the money back, but they're banking on the concerts and on the weddings.
Right.
And of course, that's what I'm doing. But I don't.
The stores have to make a cut of that.
Exactly. That's why, by the way, it drives me absolutely insane. And I have no problem saying this, on a public platform. When people even like enter into the shaila of like downloading music and stealing music and this and all this stuff, if people would really know the amount of time, effort, mamish, I'm not going to use the word agmas nefesh because that's like intense, but like I'm going to use the word like sacrifice on my end, family. Forget the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 I'm putting into it,
right,
or he puts into it. For there to be even a question of whether you can not spend the measly $10 to download the album is really, I take it as a slap in the face to everybody in the industry. And I take it as a personal insult when people aren't willing to, like, even, for example, you know what Spotify is?
I remember them.
Apple
music sharing, yeah.
Okay, so it's like, Spotify pays you, like, very, very little to stream the music. But it's a service for the people, who want to have all their music organized and on the internet, and it's just really hard when you hear of these stories. And I think the message, I think one of the things that have given me like strength to continue doing it is because I do feel that the more sincere the music sounds, and by sincere I mean like you hear a real, genuine performance, whether it's fast, slow, whatever style it is, it's going to be harder for a person to steal that music when the music itself is giving it like a sincerity to it.
So as a musician, you're saying straight out, it's stealing. You feel like someone takes an album, someone even buys a CD, and then they give it to their friends to take, and they take it and they put it on their computers.
It's absolutely unacceptable.
I know the Mordechai Ben David a few years ago, he put out a very strong video against it, and he's obviously, been hurt by it, and I'm sure all musicians are.
Yeah. I mean, there's absolutely no difference. I mean, again, I'm not a halachic.
But it's interesting because you're saying, because even if you say there's a halachic loophole, not whether there is or
I'm not
isn't,
even talking about that.
but just the fact that
I'm not even talking about that. I'm not a halachic authority. I'm not a rav. I don't know what the halach is. I mean, I've heard many different opinions, but coming from the performer and coming from the artist themselves, it's just unfathomable to think that someone would not spend $10 to download something that it cost $50,000 to make,
right.
and just a year of my life has been spent on this already. So, and I'm happy to do it because I see the effect that it has on people in the community, and it gives me a lot of sense of satisfaction. But if people are wondering about that, what do the musicians think about it, the artists think about it? It's very difficult.
And that's across the board. I mean, obviously you're very connected in the Jewish music world. Is that the feeling across the board, or there are some people that say, you know what, it's just this is the way things are today. It's a new world, it's new technologies.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't lose sleep over it.
Right.
I don't sleep over it. But if the question is asked, I always get a little bit fired up about it. Like people might say it's good for business. Even what's that thing called bad?
No such thing as bad news.
Yeah. No, there's no such thing as bad PR.
Not bad PR, right?
Okay, but we're not talking about bands in the secular world that are selling 15 billion CDs, which even for them, I mean, halacha is halacha. If it's stealing, it's stealing. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just you feel it when I go to a concert, and after the concert I sell $500 worth of CDs.
Right.
That $500 is going back into the business of trying to make more CDs and stuff and more, and it's very good. It's very good.
Let me ask something. How have you seen over, I guess, the last 10 years? First of all, how many CDs do you have out now?
Well, I did two together. One, the first one was with my father and brother.
That was Beglavos?
No, that was Elecha.
Elecha. Well, am I supposed to know? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to know this.
Cousin.
Right.
Yeah. The first one was Elecha Sagon Beglavos. That was with my brother and I. Think about it, that.
By the way, it's still a great album.
Beglavos cost $8,000 to make.
8,000.
Yeah.
So that's like nothing.
My brother and I were scrapping money from wherever we could. We were little kids. Yeah. And we're still selling today.
Right.
And that's 14, 15 years later, which is
wow, it's been 14, 15 years already since that came out?
I think so.
My gosh.
Big Low Levels came out when yeah.
Wow, about 14, 15 years.
2000, 2001, 2002.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then, so Beilecha was the first one.
Yeah, so those two, and then since then, it was Lamancha, then Unplugged, Baruch Hu, Unplugged 2, Shuvu, Live in Jerusalem. And this will be the 9th one, in Mirza Hashem. The Pure Simcha. That's what it's Pure Simcha.
Pure Simcha?
Yeah, I think it'll be called.
Love it. Beautiful. Yeah. I can't wait to get that one.
Yeah.
Can you send me the download link? Well, family has to pay?
No joke. Someone came up to me and showed me that they had this on WhatsApp. They had a link that was been going around to a Dropbox file.
Yeah.
Okay. A public Dropbox file.
No.
With all of Carlebach music in it, and the artist out there that reminds people of Carlebach. Me, my brother,
You'd
not reminds you of the style. Yuda Green, whatever it is. All for free. Every one of my albums on this Dropbox file.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So, I mean, I tried to track down the person who sent out this Dropbox file. I wasn't successful, but people think, Carlebach is not alive anymore. There's a family, there's a foundation,
family, sure.
There's a process. I pay my dues when I put out Carlebach music. I pay the family.
Right.
But even if you want to use the whatever svara of I don't know who to call, that this is my parnasa.
Right.
You're like, how can you put my stuff online on the Dropbox? It was fascinating to me. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways,
Wow.
but I love everybody, so it's fine.
Okay, so what do you say, is the percentages now between people that actually buy a physical album and people that pay and download? First of all, where can they get your albums from? EitanKatz.com? Is that
EitanKatz.com. That's
I mean,
all.
they can download the full albums from there, or you send them
Absolutely.
somewhere else?
Absolutely.
Oh, you download the full album from your
Yeah.
site. Okay.
I mean, my site has like what's it called? A store widget? Something like that?
yeah.
For the company that sells, that distributes the music online and stuff like that.
Okay.
But everything is at EitanKatz.com.
So what's the percentage, and how have you seen that change over the
Whatever
last, let's
percentage
say-
it's going to be,
Yeah.
it's getting lower and lower.
Lower.
I mean, it's really, I mean, for example, I just bought a new, not just, but maybe like a few months ago, I bought a new iMac computer for my office.
Okay.
They don't have CDs slots in it.
Oh, that's so funny.
They don't like. What does that mean? Like, you don't have a CD slot. Like, you don't have a CD slot. Either it's USB or you're downloading the program. That's it, or music. So I think within 5 years from now, you're not going to see it at all.
Right.
Which makes the now it's like, for example, I had a meeting with my graphic designer today, and like it's hard putting time and effort into like the booklet, which only comes with the physical CD.
Sure.
Thinking that like, who really is this for?
Mm.
And there's a lot of families in the yeshivish world that don't have, they're not
Computers,
as,
they're still using
they're,
CD players.
they're not as download savvy and iTunes and Amazon Prime and Music and Apple Play and all this stuff.
Right.
So for them, which is a huge chunk of my clientele, you have to give them that option. For example, years after people stopped using tapes, you can go into a Jewish music store and still
Still
find
buy
tapes
tapes.
of the newest stuff that came out, because
interesting. Okay.
because there was clientele. Not anymore,
Right.
but I'm saying like 2 to 3 years after tapes became like obsolete,
Interesting.
people still use them. But it's all digital now. It's all digital.
And that's
It's-
where things are going. Like, where do you see the Jewish music industry like 5 years from now? What do you see in terms of, I guess process things? Do you think it's going to be easier to produce music, less expensive? I assume when you say a CD costs $40,000-$50,000, that's not for the actual physical CD and casing itself. It's in the actual work and time that goes into the production.
I'm saying you're spending 100 hours
Studio time
hours in the studio. Every hour is money.
Right.
Again, we're gonna separate, because even in the Jewish world, you have a trend that the music is getting more electronic, and people are replacing a lot of real instruments with computerized sounds.
Interesting.
But for a person like me who will never do that,
Oh, you don't do that? You won't
no,
do that?
and I'm not knocking anything. I'm just saying, for me, I'm not. I'm never gonna go there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Blina, I don't
Right.
think I am.
As of now, you don't think you're going to
Unless
go there.
someone comes and offers, and I'm joking. But like, so
But why? Because do you think even if you could, is it
The
going to come to a
music.
point where digitally could just come out
never,
better than the live?
never.
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 And I guess also maybe we know
I
that
mean, there
when
are some really good. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Bobby. I'm sorry to interrupt you. On every CD, I don't even know if I ever did it, but you have like here and there things that you throw in there that are what's called loops. Loops are, for example, like they'll take some incredibly famous drummer, and they'll record him playing certain like beats,
Mhm.
and then they'll put it into a computer program. And
They'll
then you
just
can
replay
go
it.
ahead and replay it and loop it.
Oh, I see.
So you have thousands and thousands of loops for every instrument, every style, whatever it is. So you could be using these things, but they're real live instruments, but they're a recording of it.
Let me ask you an interesting question. Just popped into my head.
Yeah.
We know that when someone sings a song, right, the neshama and the thoughts that went into it has an effect on the person listening to it, right? Is that the same thing with music? If someone plays guitar with his neshama, let's say, does someone listening to that, can they connect to it?
Absolutely.
So it's not just the voice. It's not just but even the music itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Music can make or break anything.
Hmm.
Like you can have the best vocalist out there, But if you don't have, it's not just about the right musicians or the right music, but you have to have the right approach. And that's why, like, I guess, sometimes I really do look at it like too much that I've taken upon myself to do, like to produce, to arrange, but I can never imagine someone else trying to express my thoughts and feelings and soul, and so I'd rather do it.
So when you're buying an Eitan Katz album, it's not just the music; it's everything that goes into it. Everything is coming from your.
You can definitely be assured that I'm not
artistic style, I should say, or
absolutely. You're getting me. That's in a wedding. There's a lot of competition out there, but that's one thing that I'm very proud of. That I've been able to stay real to the music on a certain level,
right.
and really like work hard to set the right balance between the need for good, professional, entertaining music, but never at the expense of the overall avira, the atmosphere. Like that's something that's an ongoing process of trying to perfect.
I hear you. All right, so let me ask you a couple other questions. First of all, let's say someone starting out today in the Jewish music world, talented kid, he wants to get going. What advice would you give him? He comes to you and says, "Hey, Rabbi Katz," or "Rabbi Mr. Eitan Katz," or "Hey, Nachum's cousin." How do I get started? What do you suggest? How do I break out? How do I get out there? How do I get my first CD?
Nachum, that is a very, very, very hard question. It really is. I'm not just saying it. I probably get, without exaggerating, at least an email or two a week of people asking that question, whether it's in the form of sending me their music to listen to, whether they're straight asking that question. And like for real, like, I struggle with that. I struggle with that every time. Because, listen,
if someone sends you a piece of music to listen to, first of all, do you have the time? Do you take the time? Do you listen to it?
I try to listen to at least a little bit of everything they send me, because I'm always encouraging people to write music.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Absolutely. There's so many people that have a koach and they want to have an outlet for it, and it's great. Not you?
No, I was gonna segue. We're gonna get to that in a minute because I did write a song and I want to get to that. Yeah. But just let's finish up this first before we get to this very special treat for my listeners.
Oh my!
In honor of Hanukkah.
It's gonna be intense.
But someone sends you a piece of music, so you try to listen to it, and if it's not,
a lot of times I get people sending me stuff like, "Oh, can you sing this? Do you want to buy this off of me?"
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, sure. No, I write my own music. Right. And then they ask, who should I go to? And I say, like, I don't know, because I'll tell you, Nachum, I haven't really.
Do people do that? Like, people buy song? I mean,
what do you mean? Of course.
Oh, that's interesting to me in the music industry. So, if someone writes a song, so what do they? I guess they do a recording, or they just hum the tune, even if they're not a singer. Then they'll send it out to who? They send it out to musicians, send it out to producers.
Yeah, producers, singers, if they have their information.
And what do songs go for on average, let's say?
Anywhere from $500 to $2,000.
Yeah?
Maybe more, depending on.
And they're basically selling the rights for this producer and if a producer gets it, then he'll like choose a musician that he wants to work with that he feels will be best for that song.
Exactly.
Interesting. But you write your own. You write all your music is your own.
Pretty much. Yeah. So I don't, and I'm not. I'm very. I'm not into the hack. There's a big Jewish music hack out there.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
You don't know what Jewish hack means?
But the Jewish music hack. Everybody. There's a lot of people that think they know how to sing and perform and to write and let's be just straight right now.
Yeah.
They don't.
Okay.
And the reason why it's like, if let's say you're a computer programmer, for example, we were talking about this before.
Right.
So if let's say you're like a beginner, you're like a silly, a little bit of code and everything, but the program like is not going to go because you don't really know what you're doing. So you can come off at the beginning. So at the end of the day, what you have is just a bad program.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have like people taking like Chazal words and Jewish music, and like doing it as a hobby, and whether they're good or not, but the message is completely like not there, like I'm not interested in that. I'm really not interested in that, and that's where
You're
I
saying people-
kind of
oh, so
remove
you're saying people
myself.
that are they're looking at the. I don't want to say the gaiva or the fame or the money as opposed to doing it because it's
Yeah.
really part of who they are from a neshama
Yeah,
perspective.
I'm saying there are people that have that they're talented and they can write a song.
Mm-hmm.
But I always tell the people that because a lot of people that contact me, they're sending me stuff that they feel like is my alley or a little bit more spiritual, and I always tell them, like, I'm just warning you. It's like how I, Baruch Hashem B'li Ayin Hara, like, quote unquote, like, made it a little bit like in this world.
Yeah.
Maybe because I started like much earlier, not much earlier, but like I feel like I started before like a boom of people like just writing music all the time and people putting out CDs every Thursday and Monday and everybody with half a voice that has $60,000 to spend,
Yeah.
they put out an album. And I think it's a very big disservice to the Jewish people. I honestly do. It's like I know, and this is like a little bit.
But won't the market decide whether it's good or not? If someone does it, they even if their voice is not great, but they put out the music, so you're saying you're speaking, I guess, from an artistic talent perspective as opposed from I guess you're trying to protect the artistic side of the Jewish music business.
Yes, and I hear what you're saying, that the market will decide that, and they do, because a lot of one and done chavre. But I think that even with that, what kind of message is the business of the Jewish music world sending the Jewish people? Let's ask that question.
Okay. Well, what should what should the message be?
The message should be is that, for and foremost, that Jewish music is extremely powerful and important for the Jewish person. That's just like, you can't. And if you say that because it sounds good, then I could hear from your voice. Not that, again, I'm not talking. I'm afar ve'efer. I'm not talking about myself right now. I'm just saying, like, I'm sensitive to this stuff.
Right.
And when I hear people just saying that as like a part of like, oh, Jewish music connect to Hashem, blah blah blah, then you go out there and you sound like a disco club from the 1970s,
right.
and it's like, it's great music, but like, what does that have to do with like Yiddishkeit?
Yiddishkeit, right?
I want the Jewish music business world to say, hey, listen, we are almost like, we're not the same thing as like mechanchim or rebbes in yeshiva. We're not, because that's like a higher level, in my opinion.
Teaching
that's
Torah.
Teaching Torah. That's like the highest level ever.
Yeah.
But could you ever imagine if someone would come and say, listen, I'm putting out a sefer, I'm writing a sefer now. Is it all l'shem shemaim? No, there's some chakiras that aren't really true in my sefer, but they're like really fascinating. They're really intellectually stimulating. You would throw the person out of the house. I'm saying, well, what's the question? So why is that okay with this stuff? Oh, I put out a CD. There's one Herzig and Nigun that has a guitar, and it sounds cool. But everything else is like total, like goyish, music. I'm not into that. So people will think I'm crazy. That I make that comparison. Let them think I'm crazy. That's my drive. That's my, and when you decide to make a parnasa with it,
right,
you have to be even more careful. Because then your livelihood gets into play, and you're I guess how much you're willing to bend here and there. This is what the people want to hear.
So
like that, I hear that all the time.
Do you feel that pressure at all?
Yes and no. Yes, because I'm always looking at how to reach farther.
Right.
No, Baruch Hashem, most of the people that hire me, they're hiring me because they want what I do.
Right.
I've had meetings with prospective clients who have voiced to me the kind of style they want, and I give them numbers of people to call. Because, like,
you'll turn down business.
Yeah, you want me to come out there and be somebody else? It's a very specific product. If you want it, great. If you don't want it, more than being where I want to be,
yeah,
I more don't want to be where I'm not, like, invited, kind of thing. And that's fine.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Eitan, this has been absolutely great. Obviously, I love spending time with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we should definitely do it more often, because Hashem in Eretz Yisrael.
Absolutely. It's a shame. So it's a very big treat.
But we have a special treat for our listeners.
Oh my gosh, is my guitar down here?
You think a guitar would actually help it?
The guitar.
So you go grab your guitar. I'll give a little intro. So I had a dream. This is a true story, actually. I had a dream. Now, people know I'm pretty creative in terms of business ideas and.
Saying anybody that writes me an email saying I had a dream last night and this is the nigga that I was singing, send it to the From Entrepreneur.
Basically, I don't know how many years ago. I guess it was 5 years ago or so. I had a dream, and in the dream, this tune came to me, and. And in the morning, I took this tune and I put the words to it. I don't know why these words came to it, but it was the tune to Mao Sur. And I shared it. Obviously the first people I shared was with my cousins Eitan and Shlomo. And the reaction wasn't what I was really hoping for.
We were patting him, rubbing his shoulders. Yeah, no, it's great. It's so beautiful.
But I sensed they were lying straight to my face when they were telling me. I don't know why, but I want you guys to hear it. I want my audience a special treat. This is the first time we're recording this live. First time I'm sharing it outside with anybody besides my family. And I got to be honest, no one yet has said, "Wow, that's awesome." But I figure if enough people listen to it, they're gonna go for it.
It starts like this. Ready?
That's not how it.
No?
No, that's not how it goes.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hold on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, a song, the first and last song ever written by Nachum Kligman, From Entrepreneur, live recorded with the one and only Eitan Katz, who's only doing this because he's my first cousin and he loves me.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Let's rock this out with Neshama.
You start singing, I'll find the key if it exists. Because
I'm not really a singer.
I might need a new guitar for this one, but go.
All right, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Mausur Yeshuasi L'chana L'shabeach Tikkun. Again, how my audience has it?
Was this a dream or a nightmare?
Okay, 5, 3, 2, 1. Mausur Yeshuasi L'chana L'shabeach Tikkun Beis Tefilasi Bisham Todah Nizabeach Le'estachin Matbeach Nitzar Hamazbeach Hazek Mor Bishir Mizmor Chanukas Ham. No, I can't do this. This is too bad. This was actually horrible. This is why Eitan doesn't give business speeches, and this is why I don't do music. But I figured we'd give you guys a special treat anyway. It's actually, if I wasn't laughing, it would come out a lot worse.
No, it's great.
But at least, Eitan, thank you for humoring me. Thank you for being here in your house.
My pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. I'm truly honored, and I love you like a cousin. I love you like a brother.
Yeah.
And
me too. And I'm so happy to see how many
No, but seriously, don't you think this song has potential? Okay, let's take this example.
I'm so happy to see how your business as a From Entrepreneur, the whole thing is. Oh, the song. Oh, the song's great.
Yeah, I said every year I sing it to my family, and it's just never ever goes over, and I don't know why, but maybe when you guys hear it. Anyway, episode 46, the From Entrepreneur. Thank you all guys for listening. This has been live with Eitan Katz. Eitan, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Continue Hatzlacha and Mazel, and I can't wait to hear your next album.
Amen.
And send me a free digital copy.
Love you.
Out.
Thank you for listening to the From Entrepreneur podcast with Nahum Kligman. We hope you learned something valuable and will share this with your friends. For show notes, archives of previous episodes, and more information to help you start and grow your business, please visit our website, www.fromentrepreneur.com. Listen, learn, be Matzliach.